Does planning community outings for your learners feel overwhelming? Between transportation, safety, staffing, and deciding what to teach, it's easy to put community based instruction on the back burner. In this post, we'll break down community based instruction in ABA into simple, manageable steps so that you can build meaningful learning opportunities without feeling overwhelmed. Hi, I'm Shayna, and together with my partner Shira, we are behavior analysts who create weekly content about how to teach children with autism so that they make real progress. And we create shareable resources to make your job just a little easier. Today's topic is all about community-based instruction in ABA. And if you want more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on new video releases. So, community-based instruction sometimes feels like just one more thing to do. I do a lot of, tabletop, discrete trial teaching. And then someone says, well, this learner really needs the community, usually me who says that. And you're like, oh, one more thing to do. It's really, really tough. But it's so, so important for generalization purposes and just real life. That's what parents want. And parents need that is, learners we have need to go out into the community. But there are a lot of barriers. And, one of those barriers is planning, right? Like I said, it's just one more thing to do. Some of it's staffing, right? Can we staff these these community programs like a 2-to-1? Is it safe for only 1-to-1? Scheduling, how do we schedule community-based instruction? There's safety concerns, obviously, especially if there's elopement issues or if there's aggression or anything like that. And it's also about just knowing where to start. Your learner may have very great skills in certain things, but are they generalized? And where do I start generalizing this into the community? The reality is it really doesn't have to be that complicated. Our goal really is to make community-based instruction practical and achievable. So, I guess we should start with, well, what is community-based instruction? It's teaching functional skills in the environments where they're actually going to be used. And so many times we teach in ABA clinics or we teach in houses or basements of homes, what have you, and we never get to go out. So I actually really love community-based instruction because it really does focus in on real life learning and it supports that generalization. So things like going to the grocery store, going to the library, going to a park, coffee shops, community centers. I had one client who was like, listen, we go out to eat a lot and I really want my child to, thrive in a restaurant and know what to do. I had another student who was, her brother was getting married and all they wanted was this child to walk down the aisle. And that was really cool too. So we were able to go to, the setting and really practice that skill so that this learner could walk down the aisle at her brother's wedding. And that was awesome for our family. So what do we do? I think the first thing we need to do is start with the goal. So sure, you know what? Marriage is in a church, but we don't necessarily need to start with that location. So instead of asking where should we go, I think we need to ask, what are the goals that we're teaching? So for instance, if one of the goals we're teaching is waiting, or if the goal is making purchases, maybe it's asking for help, maybe it's like following a shopping list or creating a shopping list, maybe it's crossing the street, maybe it's ordering. So looking at what is that goal, practicing that goal, and then actually practicing it in multiple environments. So it's not about which environment do we go to, but let's look at the goal first. The first thing to do is keep it small. And I know I say this all the time, but really keep it super simple. Avoid long outings, especially if your learner hasn't had the opportunity to go out for, with an ABA therapist. Make it short, keep it really simple. Stick to 1 or 2 targets and that's it. Don't have multiple objectives right from the get-go. Visual schedules are amazing, but try to avoid really complex schedules, like really super simple. And we can always build from there, right? But those small wins build confidence, and they build confidence for both, the ABA instructor as well as our learner. So making sure that we have some of those small wins before we get too big. And I want you to plan for success before you leave. So think about like learner readiness, motivation, preferred items. Maybe there's some potential barriers that you should brainstorm. What are staff roles? Is there a data collection plan? Is there an exit strategy if it's needed? So making sure that you just talk about that with your team, because that preparation does reduce stress for everyone. And just like we're going to prepare ourselves for potential barriers or potential things that might happen, we also want to make sure that we're preparing our learners. So I'm a huge fan of priming. And what priming is really teaching skills before we go. So if we're going to a specific location, I might look up online with my learner, hey, here's where we're going, check it out. Look, there's going to be some bright lights. Look, I see this. Or, hey, it might be really crowded. We can, do some of that priming ahead of time. We can also practice some of those skills in the clinic. Or the home or maybe school first. So, I didn't start at a church with my one learner who who needed to walk down the aisle for her brother's wedding. We literally started in her basement. And then we, progressed from there. Then we did it on a sidewalk. We did it at a park because the church didn't want us in for, 50 visits. They wanted us in for 3. So we really can practice those skills in other environments and teach that before you go. Role play is huge. Using visual supports is massive. I love that. Also, review a reinforcement plan. What is the reinforcement plan? And reviewing that with the student. Because community trips shouldn't be the first time practicing the skill. One of the other big things that we need to do is make sure that we're flexible in the moment. I know that we talk about teaching our learners flexibility, but us as therapists need to be flexible as well. The outing doesn't need to be perfect. What's that saying? Don't sacrifice the good for perfect. The outing doesn't need to be perfect. Really just, if there's teachable moments that pop up, teach them, and making sure that we're adjusting our expectations as needed. We can reinforce approximations and we can reinforce effort. We don't need to just reinforce the perfection. And just making sure that we're focusing in on that meaningful participation. And that's what we're looking for, is really just progress, not that perfect execution. So, community instruction teaches a whole bunch of things, like I mentioned before, right? Like independence, but problem solving, even self-advocacy skills, flexibility, confidence, participation in that everyday life. And these are so meaningful for long-term outcomes. So the last question people ask is about data. And what do I do with data collection? We're in the community. I can't be carrying a clipboard, or, I can't be on my cell phone all the time trying to take the data. I would say that try, if possible, making that data as super simple as possible. Looking at, yes, no data collection, or it might even just be a rating scale. Really, you're tracking one thing or two things, right? Maybe it's skill completion, maybe it's the prompt level, or maybe even just duration. I looked at my watch and I looked at my watch again after the outing, and this is how long it was, and that's where it was successful. Maybe it's the number of opportunities. I'm carrying a tally counter, and that's easy enough. Maybe when I get back, I'm just taking notes about, the successes we had, or maybe some potential barriers. So really, the simple data is still the most valuable data when you're out in the community. For more information on community-based instruction in ABA, click the link on or around this video or in the description to claim your free net data sheet. We also encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future videos, and leave a like and comment below if you have further questions.